Can the government tell Uber drivers how much money they can make? Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and yesterday I did a video that was actually kind of a rarity on this site. I made a video defending Uber and actually stating they did nothing wrong. Now I kind of backtracked that just a little at the end. If you want to see what the whole video was, you can see I've left a link at the end of this video. In fact, I kind of recommend you watch that video before you watch this one. And it was, but to summarize, it was a video where Uber was fined almost $1 million because they charged surge during a state of emergency. Now, where I backtracked a little, that Uber was kind of given the heads up not to do that because it was a state of emergency, and they did it anyway, and they got fined for it. Now, my argument was that the surge is non-discriminatory. The algorithm, I should say. The algorithm just looks at two things. How many people need cars? How many drivers are there out there? And if the people who need cars are above the people who are driving, the surge goes up. It incentivizes them to get a ride. And also, when other drivers who are not online sees that, it encourages them to hop online, which in theory brings it up to this. But in this particular case, it was a state of emergency because of a heavy storm, and they told Uber not to let it go through. They did. So here's the thing. I defended Uber for most part. I did kind of end by saying, you know what? If they were kind of given a heads up not to do that, that's probably on them. They probably deserve that. And then a lot of people in the comments said something that I really had not thought about, and that is what has inspired me to approach this subject again. Because people have actually pointed out, well, we are independent contractors. Heck, it's like, does the government have the right to tell independent contractors how much they can and can't make? For that matter, does the government have the right to go to an employer, even if you consider yourself employees, does the government have the right to go to the employer and say, you know what, we think those workers should be making less than this. We don't think they should be making overtime. No, that's not the case. That is not the government's position to tell you how much you can and can't make. Now, here's where it gets really complicated when it comes to national disasters and things like that, is that you have very, very polarized opinions on what people's reaction should be to a natural disaster when it comes to making money. For example, here's something that comes up quite frequently in a storm situation, because usually after a heavy storm, the power is down, the stores are closed, and you normally can't get food or water because companies are not going to drive to a place where there's going to be a storm to drop that stuff off, and sometimes people don't have food. So what some people do is they take the food, they go there, and then they sell it to people, but they do it at an inflated price. Now, here's where the complication comes in. Some people would say that that's price gouging. You are taking advantage of people who are in a bad situation, and you are charging them more for something that they normally would not pay for. And then you have other people saying that that's actually a good thing, because by allowing them to do that, to charge more, you get goods and services that most people will not do on their own. I want to point out that most companies will not provide a service in a dangerous situation if they are just getting paid the bare minimum. But if they get an inflation on that service, then yeah, they will definitely do it. And who knows, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, you need that service, so it's good to have it. So it's a very complicated situation, and it's very similar to what this is. In this situation, there is a storm. It is very, very dangerous to pick people up and drive them around. Why would people actually get in their Ubers and pick people up and drive them around? Well, some people might do it out of the goodness of their heart. Who knows? I'm sure some people are out there. When there was that, Las Vegas shooting, there were Uber drivers who picked up complete strangers, and out of the goodness of their heart, they drove them to safety without getting paid. I thought that was very, very noble of them. But here's the other thing. If they know the storm is out there, why would they willingly put themselves in a situation? Because it's going to surge, and they will make a lot more money. And they are putting themselves in a situation where they could get hurt, and heck, they could potentially even die. They could potentially die doing this. But they are willing to risk it for a financial boost. So that's their incentive. Now, the people who take those rides, now I'm sure they probably don't like being charged extra money. No one likes being charged extra money. But do you think when there's a tree swirling around their house, shoot, I gotta get out of here. Let's get on Uber. Oh, shoot, it's surging. Well, I guess I'm gonna wait the surge out. No, they're gonna call the Uber because they want to get out of there. They want to get to safety. They pay the extra money and the Uber driver comes, he picks them up, he drives them to safety, and everybody ultimately wins. And as an independent contractor, you should be allowed to do that, in theory. But then the government comes along and says, no, you can't do that. Is that right? And by the way, I don't have the answers here. I am still going to defend Uber and their algorithm in the sense that the algorithm did absolutely nothing wrong. It just figured out that there's going to be there's a lot more demand right now and not enough drivers. So they're going to have to pay the drivers more. Here's the thing. The other situation, what if Uber had turned the surge off? What if they had done that? Well, you probably would not have had nearly that many drivers out there because who wants to risk themselves in a storm for a very, very low amount of money? Now, some people might do that. Again, there are some people with hearts of gold out there. Although, if you want the real heart of gold, maybe you don't turn the Uber app on at all. Maybe you just do it out of the goodness of your heart. You don't even charge them a fee at all. Those people probably do exist. But some people are like, you know what? It's not safe out there. But I need to pay the bills. I need to pay for a wedding. I need to save up. Heck, there's a funeral expense. Who knows what the reason is? And there is now an opportunity to make a little extra money. And you know it's going to be dangerous. You know you might not even come back alive from that one. But the money will be better. The money will be better, and thus you are inspired to go out into the world and to pick the people up. Is that wrong? On the driver's end, I don't think it's wrong. On Uber's end, I don't even think it's 100% wrong either. I do have issues with the government saying no, but then of course we have to look at the other side. You're in a dangerous situation. You need help. Sometimes people just need help, and some people now might not be able to get that help because it's going to cost too much. That's one of the big debates about healthcare right now. Like, you want to go to the hospital or to the doctor to get preventive care. You're feeling a little weird. You need the doctor to look at you. Maybe there's something that can be headed off, but what if it's nothing? What if it's just like, you know, a headache or a goiter or something that doesn't really matter? What if it's just diabetes acting up and you just need to, you know, eat a little better to not have the symptoms? Well, now you're going to spend a lot of money to go to the doctors and you don't want to spend that money. But what if it's not something like that? What if it's something serious? What if you need to go to the doctors and you need a diagnosis because there is something life-threatening with you? And if you don't get that diagnosis and you don't get that preemptive care, you might die sooner than you need to, but you can't afford to do it. Well, you see, this is where it starts getting really, really complicated. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. I personally believe in both situations. I believe the drivers should get paid. I likewise believe that the passengers should get saved and picked up. So here's actually probably the middle of the ground compromise I can think of. This is personal opinion, of course. Maybe you'll disagree. I would love to know if you do. I would do this. If I were Uber and I was given the heads up that there was going to be a state of emergency and therefore you need to turn the surge off, I would keep the surge on. I would leave it on. Because you want your drivers out there in the emergency making good money when they are risking their lives. However, to comply with what the government is saying, I would not charge the passengers the surge. They will be getting surge rides but they will not pay for the surge. They will just pay for the base fare. Now, yes, Uber would have to eat that, but maybe they could write it off as an expense. Who knows? I wouldn't be too surprised if that was the case. And that, I think, would be an ideal compromise, but then Uber is losing even more money. And the fact, oh, there goes my monitor going into sleep mode. The fact remains that the government is still telling Uber how to conduct their business. And when they tell Uber how to conduct their business, Uber then in turn tells us how to conduct our business, which they should not be doing, I should add. So this is a very, very complicated situation, and that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it because I don't know where else I can go with it. I don't know if I have the answers. All I can do is start the conversation. So what do you folks think? Do you agree? Do you agree it's wrong to charge surge when you're driving? Do you think the government is wrong to step in and say that they can't charge surge? Or do you think the government is right for saying you have to, put a cap on the surge? And do you think it's justice and moral that you pick them up for the base fare, even though it's a life-threatening situation. I would love to know which side you think about, and I would love to talk about it more. I have to say, the video that inspired this and got these comments rolling, I was really impressed with some of the comments, so I'm looking forward to reading them this time too. So anyway, you can leave them below and like, favorite, share, subscribe. And if you really like my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even those $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog, which I will be updating today or tomorrow, just to let you know. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.